What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm also going to break down some very important reactions we're getting from the markets, not to mention some big news about Tesla. But let me just mention I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link. The offer ends very soon. Deposit $100 and you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. Put in $1,000 and you're guaranteed 15 in total. Once again, the offer ends in 3 weeks. Anyways, for Tesla, we got this nice little pump after CPI came out to about this 270 area. But since then, Tesla's been kind of retracing a bit, kind of retesting this support. I think we're going to be retesting 265, so we'll have to see if we could try to hold this or not. If we do end up losing this, we could be looking for a bigger dip on Tesla. And this is once again a very, very critical level. Tesla's still kind of like within the balance of this range from yesterday. We're still actually below 267, so we'll have to see if we can try to break this or not, and then watch and see if we can hold 265 as the whole market is kind of selling off a bit. So I'm going to give you guys more information about this. CPI was kind of like a buy the rumor, sell the news event. I was suspecting that this was a strong possibility in my morning video. We basically pumped really hard yesterday approaching CPI, right? The market was holding up very well. And then this morning, when CPI came out, the market pumped a little bit higher, only to start dumping after that. So that's something else that's very important, something else that's worth noting. As far as Tesla goes, we actually had another FSD update, which is very, very great news for us. You're actually seeing a lot of improvements being made to the way in which it is able to sense what's around it. Not to mention some improvements when it comes to lane changing. I was reading about pretty cool stuff, if anything. With other things that are going on, they have a new strike system as well. So now it's going to remove one strike from the vehicle's record for every week that the driver is basically going without using or going through an autopilot strike. So there's a big change right over here. They also removed the steering wheel nag, so it's actually very, very useful. They're also improving the vision-based monitoring and a bunch of other things like this. So that's pretty cool stuff, at least that's coming out from this update. And Elon Musk even said that the 12.5.x version, so we're not sure about which one specifically, but one of the 12.5s is going to have some very, very big improvements. Musk was talking about that as well on his Twitter page just a few days ago. On top of this, there's been some talk about this model right over here. This is a Model 3, no, really, which is kind of funny. What's very important about this is basically looking like a Mercedes 300 SL. This is just a coach design team that just made this, but it's more of a Tesla Model 3 at the same time, looking at the interior and other things. So it's a mix between a Tesla and a Mercedes. I'm seeing a lot of headlines about this for some like future designs and cool concepts. The inside actually has a Tesla steering wheel, so cool stuff. It's kind of like mixed with these two different versions. This is just like a concept car, so I'm seeing a lot of headlines about this. Pretty cool stuff, anyways. So, anyways, let's talk about the market. How are things looking? Once again, for Tesla, we're now testing resistance at 267.5, and we've supported 265. We've been stuck between here for some time. If Tesla loses 265, there's going to be a bigger tip coming all the way down towards 264. If that fails, let's look at 262 followed by 260. Overall, be a little bit careful with Tesla. We're going to be watching to see if we could close above 265 or not. That's a critical support. If we close below that, we're going to be remaining just kind of range bound on Tesla. If we manage to close above that, it's going to be a sign of some life. So just be careful with Tesla. See if we could hold 265 or not. I wanted to just call out that level to see if we close above that. But for SPY, exactly what I predicted ended up happening, how we kind of like pumped and dumped. I was looking at that as the most likely possibility. Now, we're testing our 30 minutes 50 EMA around 559.4. If we were to lose this, I'll be looking at 559 and 558. If we try to hold above this, we could be looking for a rebound to 560. But like I said before, I'm seeing a weakness on the chart and the odds are favoring more downside. We are kind of rejecting, so watch for that very carefully. On Nvidia, we pumped all the way up to about 137, but I said we have to hold above 135. If we lost this, look for a bigger dump. And lo and behold, Nvidia is dumping, got a big rejection. Going to be looking at our 200 EMA to see if we could hold above 130 or not. If we lose that, there's going to be an even bigger dip all the way down to 127. So watch 130 as key support and see if we hold that. If we do hold it, we're going to be retesting 131.5 and 133. If we lose it, we're going to be looking for a bigger dump. So watch for that as well. Bitcoin pumped all the way up to almost 60,000 only to reject. I said if we lose 58,000, watch support here. Our support is currently at 57,665. That's our 200 EMA. If that fails us, we're going down to 57,000. So I'm seeing a little bit of weakness developing. For ES, we pumped and then dumped, just like SPY. This is actually what's leading SPY for now. Losing our 50 EMA, there's going to be a risk of more downside on this. Going to be looking at this imbalance over here. So we could be looking for a move all the way down towards the 56,000 area. Then eventually 5650 could be coming next if we lose 5660. So I do see a risk of this dipping a little bit lower. I do expect it to retest 5666, or maybe even go lower than that. So watch for that very carefully. On the IWM Russell 2000, we pumped a little bit, only to consolidate, only to start dumping. So we're losing 500, which is a sign of weakness. Watch 497 as our 496.8 is one support. If that fails us, watch 495, our 200 EMA. And if that fails us, we're going to be dipping to 494, another critical support. If that fails, we're going to be looking for a much bigger dump. So 494 and 495 are going to be two key supports. Also 496.8. We have resistance at 498, not to mention for 500, but this chart's looking more bearish, so just be careful. Aapl already started the rejection. We called this out in the morning. It looked to me like Aapl was going to dump. I called it out in the morning. That's what's happening. We have 228 as support. If this fails this, I'll be looking for basically 226, and we have 230 as resistance. This is favoring more downside for 228 or lower. I want to call out the IWM though. The IWM is still very strong. Excuse me, outperforming SPY and the markets. Going to be looking for a test of 210.5 very soon, and eventually 212 if that breaks. So this is actually outperforming, doing a very, very good job. The IWM is showing some strength, so that's actually a pretty darn good sign for now. Then for a few more, we have Coinbase. Coinbase is trying to push a little bit higher. We're going to be looking at basically 226 as our resistance. If we break through that, I'll be looking for a bigger pump to about 228. I think we're going to shuffle around 225 to 226 for now. However, Amazon struggled to break through 200. We actually lost 197.5. So this is a sign of weakness. You'll be looking for 195, then eventually all the way down to 194 we go. So Amazon's looking a little bit weak to me. Meta is looking a little bit weak. We called some downside, and that's exactly what ended up happening. I mentioned that we could be dipping all the way down to about 527. If that failed, this will be looking at 524. Lo and behold, we went all the way down to 520, and if that fails, this 515 is coming. So I'm seeing a little bit of weakness on this chart, and there is, once again, downside is looking more favorable for Meta, so it still looks like it could retest 520. If we look at Microsoft, we got a big rejection after CPI. We're actually dipping back down. Going to be looking for a test of about 451 to 450 very soon. So I see some more downside potential. Google's also dipping a bit. I think that we could get closer to about 188 to fill this imbalance. So look for a little bit more downside. That's what we're seeing. GameStop is shuffling around 25, not really doing much. AMC is trying to show some strength, bouncing towards 5.5, so it's building some life. So we'll see how things go. SPY is still looking more bearish. Now Tesla is barely at 265, so we'll see if this holds or not for close. If we lose this, we're still going back to our range, so make sure you watch the levels of support I called out. And just know that Tesla was trying to break up, but now it's showing some weaknesses. The whole market's kind of pumping and dumping. So keep that in the back of your mind, guys. With that being said, I want to just say I really appreciate you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys have an absolutely spectacular rest of the day. I'll be back in another couple of hours. Take care, guys. Make sure you watch Critical Support on Tesla, and I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you, and peace out.